Mystery of Robson Mountain. Chapter 1. It was January 8th, 2012, 8 a.m. That morning, when Robert and his girlfriend Emily, whom he had known since childhood and would marry in a week, woke up at the Yellowhead Motel, they decided to engage in an activity they had always wanted to do, but never found the opportunity for: climbing Robson Mountain, about 30 miles away from the motel. Emily was the one who first suggested this activity, and Robert found the idea logical since he loved mountain climbing during his college years. It must have been about 6 years since he last went skiing. Robert couldn't recall. "Shall we go down for breakfast?" asked Emily. "Sure," said Robert, and together they descended from the small and modest room on the second floor to the breakfast hall on the ground floor. They were greeted in the breakfast hall by a middle-aged man, tall with prematurely graying hair, who was the owner of the motel. He looked at them intently, as he had never seen these two strangers around Valmount before. "Hello," he said, extending his hand. "You must be new around here." "Yes," replied Robert. "My girlfriend and I live in Chicago, and we're trying to complete our pre-marriage to-do list." Robert said these words with a smile on his face. "I understand. My late wife and I were trying to do the same thing 15 years ago," the man said, with a pained smile on his face. "We're sorry for your loss," Emily said, feeling embarrassed. "It's been a long time. Remembering those days brings me peace from time to time," he said, and added, "I'm Caleb, the owner of this motel. I would love to join you for breakfast if you don't mind." "With pleasure," said Robert. They sat down at the breakfast table together. Caleb started the conversation. "I'm curious about your list. What's on it?" Emily, excitedly, "We visited the pyramids of Egypt and participated in an archaeological excavation there. Then we went to Turkey and visited Göbekli Tepe, the first settlement of humans. From there, we went to Italy and went paragliding at Lake Garda. It was really exciting." Robert nodded approvingly at Emily's words and smiled at her. "What's your adventure here?" Caleb asked excitedly. This time, Robert intervened in the conversation. "To be honest, we've seen many places and had many adventures. Finally, we came here, and I'm going to propose to Emily at the summit of Robson Mountain, which is about 30 miles away from here." After finishing his sentence, Robert started laughing, and Emily hit Robert's arm, saying, "And can you believe I found out about this 2 months ago? I thought it had to be a surprise." Emily gave Robert a reproachful look. Caleb, who had been listening to Robert with excitement since the beginning, froze abnormally when he heard Robson Mountain and looked into Robert's eyes without saying anything. Robert felt the need to ask, "Are you all right, Mr. Caleb?" Caleb suddenly got up from the table and disappeared with quick steps. Emily and Robert turned to each other, trying to make sense of what was happening. Then, a man in his 50s, who seemed to be a motel employee from his attire, approached them quickly and said, "Mr. Caleb doesn't want to see you in this motel and says you need to leave immediately. Please leave here now, otherwise I'll have to call the police." He was out of breath when he finished speaking. Robert and Emily were left speechless, their mouths open in astonishment. After a while, realizing from the expression on the employee's face that he was very serious, they went to their rooms to pack their belongings. While packing, Robert's feeling of shock was replaced by anger, and Emily's feeling of shock was replaced by fear. They gathered their things and went downstairs. As they were about to go to the motel reception to make the payment, the employee said, "We don't want money from you, just go," his voice trembling. Robert, about to speak angrily, maybe even curse, Emily pulled Robert's arm with a tearful voice. "Please, let's go, Robert." After Emily's words, Robert didn't say anything. He just held Emily's hand and headed towards the motel's exit. When they reached the front of the motel, both of them had countless unanswered questions in their minds for a long time. When Robert and Emily decided to climb Robson Mountain, they encountered Caleb's sudden disappearance and the strange behavior of the employee sent to escort them out of the motel. Both of them were left intrigued. While Emily tried to understand why Caleb was so anxious, Robert was determined to unravel the mystery behind Caleb's reaction. As their journey towards Robson Mountain continued, silence prevailed between Robert and Emily. However, this silence was filled with growing curiosity and concern. Robert had promised Emily to uncover the secret behind Caleb's odd behavior. While on the road, Emily suddenly stopped and looked around. "Robert," she said, "there's something peculiar about all of this. Caleb's reaction towards us was so harsh. Could there be a legend circulating around Robson Mountain?" Listening thoughtfully to Emily's words, Robert took out the map from his pocket and examined it carefully. "Actually," he said, "there are some ancient legends circulating around Robson Mountain. Many of them suggest that mysterious powers reside at the summit of the mountain, and those who climb it may encounter these powers." Emily turned her gaze towards the mountain as she pondered Robert's words. Could these legends be true? She wondered. Perhaps Caleb wanted to warn us for this reason. As their journey continued, Robert and Emily began to discuss more about the mystery of Robson Mountain. With each moment they approached Robson Mountain, they felt themselves getting closer to uncovering the truth behind Caleb's strange behavior. When they reached the foothills of Robson Mountain, the scenery around them was mesmerizing. As snow-capped peaks rose into the sky, the grandeur of the mountain rising among the pine trees was magnificent. Robert and Emily stood for a moment, spellbound by the beauty of nature, after getting out of the car. "This is magnificent," exclaimed Emily, as she gazed at the summit of the mountain. "Yes, indeed," replied Robert, surveying the surroundings with admiration. However, Caleb's strange behavior still lingered in his mind. Robert was determined to solve this mystery. "Emily, Caleb's reaction to our presence here still bothers me," he said, with a pensive expression. "Perhaps he is aware of something here and wanted to warn us." Emily agreed with Robert's thoughts. "Yes, you might be right. But what could be so concerning here?" she asked, with concern in her voice. Robert said, "Perhaps those legends could indeed be true, and Caleb wanted to protect us. But for now, the important thing is that we are here and need to carry out my plan." Together they headed towards a camping area at the foothills of Robson Mountain. The scenery before them was breathtaking. Now they decided to take some time to prepare for the climb to the summit. "Emily, we're here, and I'm excited to climb this mountain," said Robert, determination in his eyes. "And of course, to spend the rest of my life with you." Emily smiled at Robert's words and hugged him. "I'm also very happy to be with you, Robert," she said sincerely. The mystery of Robson Mountain and Caleb's odd behavior still lingered in their minds. But for now, Robert and Emily were moving forward together towards the summit ahead of them. End of chapter 1. Stay tuned for more.